On a Thursday afternoon in early March 2011, Billy Bustani had a big decision to make. The boneless chicken breasts were on sale, but the salmon looked pretty good too. Which would go best with the broccoli and pasta? As he pondered his choice, the familiar memories washed over him once again and threatened to crowd out everything else in his head. He closed his eyes. He knew this was a bad habit, and he was careful not to do it when he was driving. But other times, he surrendered to the images that put a smile on his face. Egg-like cars gliding down a tree-lined boulevard, slender skyscrapers, iridescent like dragonfly wings in the afternoon sun, ribbons of light snaking through the trees of Tower Grove Park at dusk, an ecstatic mass of dancers under the spell of mad, impossible riffs from exotic instruments. He watched the other people in this suburban St. Louis supermarket, going about their uncomplicated lives. They didn't know the big picture, that another world permeated this one, and that other people were passing through them right now, leaving no trace. They couldn't know, and maybe they didn't want to know. Blissful ignorance. But Billy knew. To say that the last year had turned his life upside down and twisted it inside out was the mother of all understatements. Now everything was different, and would always be different. The bell could not be unrung. What was he supposed to do with that? He couldn't talk about what had happened, about the magnificent city he had visited in the other world, which he called HD. Who would believe him? Also, people whom he didn't want to upset had made it abundantly clear that he better keep his mouth shut. Were they watching him now? Maybe or maybe not. He wasn't eager to find out. So he was expected to carry on like nothing had changed. No one had specifically told him to do that, but it followed logically from the prohibition on talking. Acting normal was a daily struggle. He couldn't forget about his secret or the joys and regrets that went with it. Billy didn't want the memories of HD to fade. What he wanted was to go back there, somehow, someday. And if he ever did manage to go back, he wasn't going to screw it up this time. While standing in the checkout line, Billy scanned a rack of tabloids screaming about Brad and Angelina, Tom and Katie, and tragedies afflicting various celebrities he had never heard of. One headline caught his eye. "Aliens walk among us. Experts say it could be true." He pulled the paper out and looked more closely. A grainy photo showed a bug-eyed alien on a crowded sidewalk, surrounded by unsuspecting humans. Billy used to scoff at stuff like this, but now he didn't rule anything out. He tossed the paper onto the checkout belt, along with the items for that night's dinner. Billy's wife, Carol, and their college student daughter, Meredith, got a big laugh out of the aliens article as they prepared the chicken and pasta. "Hey, Diami, you're in the newspaper," Meredith said with glee. Diami Redhawk, tall and tattooed, came over to the kitchen island to look at the paper. He studied it intently, but didn't understand. Meredith explained the joke. "Nothing in these papers is true. They make up crazy stuff and nobody really believes it. But here you are, an alien among us." Diami had never seen a newspaper like this one. It was yet another strange aspect of this bizarre world he had committed to. Early on, the Bustanis and Diami agreed to keep quiet about HD when anyone else was around. Billy made them all promise that they wouldn't say a word without consulting with the others first. Nothing good could come of a revelation. At a minimum, they would be branded as weirdos. Or they might attract unwanted attention from the sinister Knights of the Carnelian, the shadowy group that ran St. Louis in HD. Billy fantasized constantly of telling other people about HD. Once or twice he had come close to spilling his guts to a random stranger, but he knew better. The only consolation was that this pact of silence made him feel like a spy or a superhero with a secret identity. Dinners at home gave Billy, Carol, Meredith, and Diami the rare opportunity to relax and speak freely with no one else around. They were the only people in the SD world who knew that HD existed. Or so they thought.